It's the middle of October, it's fall, and that means it's apple season. And today we're talking some of the best mid-fall snacking varieties for texture. Hi, it's John with ProduceGeek.com. I work in the produce industry. I eat produce every day. I taste produce from all over the place. And today I'm going to share some of my favorite mid-fall apples that you'll find in supermarkets and other places where you can buy fresh fruit during mid-October, well, most of October and into mid-November. We're going to start with the fall classic these days for those that love great texture apples, and it's the Honeycrisp. Honeycrisp ripen in the East Coast orchards, Midwest orchards, and the Pacific Northwest orchards at the end of August and are harvested in early September. And it has become the classic texture apple. Sweet and tangy taste, great fracture, meaning the cell structure in this apple is built differently, so it's kind of larger cells. So when you bite it, it kind of cracks and pulls apart. And because of how popular that's become, growers have been trying to crossbreed that Honeycrisp apple with other varieties to come up with new types of even more exciting apples, and we'll talk about a few of those. So here I have an organically grown Honeycrisp from the Pacific Northwest. Let's give this baby a cut here. Even when I cut it, I can hear that crack apart. Let's take a bite. Reliably juicy, crunchy, sweet, a little bit of tanginess going on with it. Honeycrisp do vary a little bit in how sweet and tangy they are based on some of the regions where they're grown, but you can always count on it being a delicious, interesting textured apple because of how crunchy and juicy it is. Next up, this is the Sweet Tango apple. These are grown in New York, and they're also grown in Washington. I have an organically grown one from Washington. These are harvested just after the Honeycrisp, and they're available, into, let's say, just before Christmas. Usually they're selling out in November, but for an early and mid-fall apple, I love the Sweet Tango. So let's take a bite of this one. Okay, I could hear an even more intense fracture on this one as I was cutting it. Let's get a little slice here. Okay, so that is Honeycrisp parentage with a Zestar apple, and I'm getting a more tangy aftertaste that keeps this interesting and exciting. That's really good. Sweet Tangos, they are like, if you love that big flavor and big crispness, Sweet Tango, gotta try it. Okay. This one is grown primarily in New York, and this is called the Snapdragon. And Snapdragon also has Honeycrisp parentage, but when you eat a Snapdragon, I always get reminded of this has that great Honeycrisp texture, but then I get this aftertaste of these familiar East Coast varieties that many of us grew up on. Just like that little bit of Macintosh Empire, East Coast Red Delicious type thing going in the aftertaste. But that texture, it's going to be firm and crisp. Well, let me confirm that with a little cut here. Snapdragon. These are picked in late September, and they're mid to late September, and then they're available through fall. As advertised, nice and sweet, nice crack apart texture, but you get some of that familiar East Coast traditional apple taste in there. So Snapdragon, love it. My top three fall, mid-fall, late summer type snacking apples. Okay, as we hit November, this is one of the first arrivals here on the East Coast where, mid to late October. This is one of the first arrivals on the East Coast of Snapdragon. Also has some Honeycrisp parentage, but wow, amazing apple. We're going to talk about that next time because November into January, you're probably going to love talking about this apple. So stay tuned for more on that next time. Here's my Apple tip for keeping these at their best. Keep apples refrigerated. Even if you don't buy them from a refrigerated display, keep them refrigerated at your home until the day you're going to eat them. That preserves the texture, because an apple can look really nice on the outside, but meanwhile on the inside, it's losing its pressure and it's going to lose its crunch and fracture. So I keep my apples refrigerated, and I actually try to buy them from refrigerated displays. So hey, for what's best, keep checking back with us. And if you find some apples you love and other fruit, share it with a friend, everyone.